What's up, guys? I'm back with another movie review. Today I'm here to talk about a documentary from FilmRise, and it's called Unseen. And it's about a serial killer case in Cleveland that was pretty well known, got quite a bit of publicity at the time. The man's name was Anthony Sowell, and he killed several women. Hid them in his, tried to hide them in his house and bury them different places. Ended up giving off a huge stink for years that ended really drew a lot of attention. Women were able to escape, and they actually went to the police and turned him in, and still nothing happened. He was just allowed to continue to keep going, and he killed even more women. And this is a subject that's been covered before. There are books about Anthony Sowell. There are documentaries about him, but what they do is kind of focusing on the crimes and Sowell and his psychology and what led him to that point. What Unseen does is show you the victims, which is something that even if you watch a lot of true crime, it's almost always focused in on the killer. You might get one segment of sympathy toward the victim, or hearing from their family, but Unseen is pretty much all about the victims. You get to know them on a personal, intimate basis by hearing from family members and friends, local people in the community, and you also get to hear from the women who were able to escape. And that's some insanely powerful stuff, to hear a first-hand account of someone who was that close to a terrible fate and was able to escape, and then to hear that they went to the police and nothing was done about it. It's heartbreaking stuff, and it's amazing to me that something like that could happen. And the movie takes great pains to show you not only that it happened, but to lay it out for you kind of how it happened and why it happened, by showing you the environment that all of this took place in, what the kind of the social climate was like. You hear from, like I said, you hear from people who were able to escape from Anthony Sowell. You're able to hear from friends and family of victims, local community leaders. There's some really shocking moments with a guy who ran the convenience store in the neighborhood, who pretty much says that he thinks that Sowell was almost like a hero because he was getting rid of the garbage, because he was preying on poor women or women who were drug addicts or worked as prostitutes. It's really sad, and it's you can't even misunderstand him, because he says he draws attention to the fact of I know there are cameras here, and I'm gonna look right into the camera and say what I feel. And it's you wonder how does stuff like this happen, and then you see someone say something like that, and it's oh, that's how it happens. If enough people have that mentality, that's how something like this can go on. And unfortunately, it costs a lot of innocent people their lives. The movie also looks heavily at how drugs played into it, the culture of addiction. I just think it's a really powerful movie that presents a side to a story that we hardly ever get to see. The media spends a lot of time, even if you don't believe that it's directly glamorizing, it's more or less glamorizing serial killers or high profile violent crimes. And this movie shows you the fallout and the aftermath and the great loss that takes place in cases like this, that unfortunately doesn't get very much coverage in the in the mainstream media. It's not an easy movie to watch, but it's a very powerful, and it's very insightful. And if you're somebody who has an interest in true crime, it's definitely something you should check out. But anybody who has an interest in social injustice, or in the failings of our social system as a whole, not just our legal system or our police system, but our entire social system, this movie shows how easily it can break down and how terrible things can happen, just because people don't have a small amount of just basic human respect for each other. If something would have been done early on when he was first reported or suspected, I mean, a lot of lives would have been saved. And it's just heartbreaking, and it's tragic to see how it all turned out. Unseen is available from FilmRise. You can get it on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital demand. I watched it in a streaming copy, so I don't have a disc to show you. But if you're a fan of true crime, if you're a fan of documentaries, social justice, I would definitely check out Unseen. It's a really well made, really insightful, and like I said, it's tough to watch, but these are the stories that need to be told, and they need to be heard. And that's kind of the point of this movie, is hey, these are stories that aren't being told, and here they are. So I definitely recommend it. You can read a full write-up of Unseen on my website, markfusion.com. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Letterboxd, and Patreon if you're interested in supporting me directly like that. But if you do like these videos, please do drop a sub here. I would greatly appreciate it. It's easy, direct way, and free way to support me and to help me continue to create content, including stuff like Unseen that maybe would have slipped through the cracks on a lot of other channels. So it really makes me happy to be able to put a little bit of a spotlight on stuff like this, and hopefully it'll get more people to check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do sincerely appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon.